Hey everybody, for those of you meeting me for the first time, I'm Louix Dor Dempriey. Some know me as Pranananda. My full Sanskrit name is Bhagavan Sri Pranananda. And I'm so glad you're here. Happy New Year in advance. And to those of you in the ahead of us and on the other side of the planet, you're already on January 1st. I know we had a lot of Aussies joining us. So Happy New Year to you as well. And thank you for tuning in. So this is an annual tradition that I do every year, and review the year that's just completing right now, and then I give a dispensation, a divine dispensation with a discourse full of insights and revelations for the coming year, and share with people how to attune to these energies, to anchor and harness them so that they can have much more ease, grace, and flow in their lives, much more smooth transformation by aligning with the divine energies that are available on the planet. So this past year, 2020, the now completing in the next few minutes, I had proclaimed 1 year ago tonight to be the year of beauty. And I had last December 31st, shared many different ways and invitations for people to create beauty in their lives, within and without. For instance, within in your life, I asked people to go deeper into focusing on their health. If people wanted to do renovations on their look, changing their look, their hair, their makeup, their wardrobe, if there were certain, touch-ups people wanted to do, or surgeries they were waiting to have, or things to change in your life, or your car, your home, beautifying your gardens, redecorating, painting your house, just to be that human paintbrush and create beauty in the world. And then moving out into the outer spheres, I talked about people increasing their efforts to pick up trash when they go around, remembering that God has no hands but yours, and God has no eyes but yours, and to speak more beautifully and clean up your language and improve your etiquette and your manners and become more subservient and obedient, and just creating a lot more beauty and grace, helping other people, to whatever degree you were doing it, to raise the bar and go to a new level, reinvent, recreate yourself, so that you could be that magic wand and create this beauty in the world. And I said how by doing so, it would help offset a lot of the global changes that have been happening that, it's not really using too big of a word to say catastrophic. There have been so many things that have been very, very catastrophic. And, who knew we were going to have a pandemic that would annihilate the entire planet. So to the degree that people individually would make great strides and great efforts in creating beauty, that helps offset and transmute some of the global warming and the climate change and the effects of the pandemic and the tangential collateral damage and suffering that was caused by the pandemic, job loss, home loss, a lot of suffering that has, not to mention the physical health suffering of so many, and death and dying and things that people incurred. So as fate would have it, as the story played out, you could see how, in retrospect, how extremely important it was and would turn out to be to make those efforts to create beauty, to help offset some of the tragedy that a lot of people had to bear this year. So I hope that a lot of people did that. And of course, like with every year, as I share a new dispensation and a new blessing unto humanity, it's important to keep the other ones going as well. It's not that you just do that for a year and it's over, that now you have a year to practice that and deepen in it and integrate it so that it becomes part of you and it becomes a way of life. Some people think like, okay, now that's done. Now we go on to the next one. No, each one builds upon the one before so that they sustain and become part of who you are, so that you move in the world and excuse me, that you move in the world and keep doing that. So as you can see with what happened this year, you know, the impact on the economy, the impact on people's lives, and the impact on people's health, and on the whole planet because of this pandemic, it's so, so important to keep up all efforts to create beauty and to be a demonstration and to hold that vision and that mantle, to really help uplift other people, and to be a demonstration of wholeness and goodness and beauty in the world. So please, please keep that going to whatever degree you can. I also shared a year ago tonight that it was going to be, in this year of beauty, 2020, it was going to be a year where the angelic realm would begin to show its hand to a degree that for some people would be unprecedented from what they had experienced hitherto. And it was really wondrous to have people share stories, you know, write to me and call me and send emails and letters telling me about these miraculous experiences and encounters they had with angels. Some people physically seeing them, others feeling the angelic presence in their lives. I know I had myself had several experiences that were just really, really mind-boggling. One that came to mind was we were planting a beautiful bougainvillea, flowering bougainvillea in the backyard, and my property, my house was built 42 years ago, almost 43 years ago, and I dug a hole to plant this vine in a spot that had never been dug in all the time since I came to find out since the house was built, even though I had just done major construction and did an excavation right next to this spot. When I dug the hole for this to plant this vine, in the digging of the hole, I didn't see anything other than dirt and rocks. But then when I was filling it in, I amended the soil and got the plant, and I was filling it back in, and this ring just appeared, just fell into my hand as the dirt was coming into the hole. And I looked at this. I didn't even know it was a ring at first. It looked like scrap metal. And it turned out to be this beautiful ring that was completely unscratched, untouched, unnicked, and had been in the soil since the house was built. So clearly someone on the construction crew must have lost it or dropped it, and it sat in the earth for 43 years, and until it was time for me. And the minute I had it in my hand, I felt all this energy of the fairy kingdom just wash through me and said, here's a gift from us to you in this year of beauty. And I dusted it off. It was just like something out of Lord of the Rings. I dusted it off, and it fit my wedding finger perfectly. I'm wearing it tonight. And so it was really, really magical. And, you know, so that was an example for me of that presence of the angels and the fairies making their hand known. And it was really, really wondrous. And so I planted I took a little fairy idol and put it on the surface of the soil right next to the trunk of this vine, and it sits above the soil, this little fairy with her wings and sitting next to a unicorn, and I see it there every day. And then I recently planted a beautiful tree on the hill behind my house. It's my favorite tree in the world, a Michelia alba. It's an exotic magnolia from Southeast Asia. And I got this big, tall, 10-inch tall ceramic fairy with glitter on her wings, and I sat her on the soil above ground next to this tree to guard that and emanate that beauty. So I, you know, some of you who are just hearing this for the first time, that's what the year was all about. And those who were with me or who heard my discourse a year ago, I really, really, you know, invited everyone to be about that, about God's business in doing that this year and creating all that beauty. So a lot of people, you know, like myself, chose to do renovations in their house, especially how perfectly timed with the pandemic that many people like myself, I had my wings clipped and I canceled about 9 trips this year and didn't do any traveling all year, and I was home to create beauty and renovate my home. And I know a lot of people did that. I have several friends in the construction industry, and they said it was their busiest year ever because people weren't traveling and weren't spending money. So they stayed home and to keep their health safe and protected and worked on their homes. So even without knowing the discourse and without knowing the dispensation, people were doing this all over the world. And that was a great talisman and testimonial to that global theme and that dispensation, that it just happened quite naturally. And this is something that I invite people to continue in this year, to just be that stand for creating and emanating beauty. And people just so need it. It really uplifts people, it inspires people, and it helps. I know it might sound trivial, but it really and truly does help alleviate people's suffering when they just can see smiles on people's faces, and they can see, bring flowers to people and help people plant flowers in their yard, and, send flowers to people who are sick or suffering, whether it's COVID or whatever else, and be that support, be that helping hand to other people. If you see someone, suffering, economic hardship, bring them a meal, cook them a meal, go help them out at their house. Things like that. If you see someone someone loses their apartment or their home, there's so many evictions and foreclosures happening that, if there's any possible way you could, lend a spare room or a sofa to someone while they're just getting back on their feet and finding recalibrating, reorchestrating their life, do that. Let us have that experience, and it's part of the, creating beauty, to have extend ourselves to show just that we really are the family of man, that we're one people, one planet. It's needed now more than ever. So many people are feeling alone and feeling burdened and feeling scared because they don't know. Some people don't know where the next meal's coming from. That's always been the case, but now it's in numbers and hitting segments of society that never got touched by that before. It's a new experience for many. So my invitation is for people to open themselves more in that way and think more outside the box, more outside yourself, to keep an eye out and an ear out for those you can help, so we can all get through things together and go to the next level. So, so that was 2020. I just had a private call with a Zoom call with a lot of my core disciples and students, and we were reviewing the year of 2020. People were telling stories and sharing leelas about how it played out for them, and now, of course, this global broadcast is open to everybody. And at this point, I want to move into some revelation about next year, to give you folks a sneak peek, a preview of what 2021 is going to be about. So I always look into, excuse me one moment while I have a sip here. I look into the collective consciousness. I look into the Akashic records, and I see what would really source the planet and bring the highest good to the greatest number of people, what would serve the highest potential for growth, for healing, for transformation, and what is most timely. It's not just, there are many things that can bring blessing and bring growth, but it's the timeliness based on what's going on the planet at that time. And excuse me. And this year it became very, very obvious early on what my dispensation would be to humanity for the year 2021, and I'll go on to elaborate. But what this year is going to be the year of healing. And again, no more fitting and no more timely could it be. We look at what's going on. First and foremost, obviously, this pandemic, which has ravaged the world, the worst pandemic in 100 years since the Spanish flu in 1918 to 1920. And, tens of millions of people feeling the effects of it and suffering. And now, yes, there are vaccines, and there have been great numbers of people who've had it, and many have transitioned, many have been scarred by it, but it hasn't even peaked yet. So, we're not going to really be seeing a marked change until probably late April or mid-May. You're going to start to see, we'll pass the peak, and you'll start to see decline as more collective critical mass of people have had the infection, and we start reaching collective critical mass of vaccinations. You'll start to see, the arc coming down, the arc of transformation coming in the other direction, and we won't be fully back to quote unquote normal, but you'll start to see some positive, real positive change by May, and then hopefully, by the fall, things will be a lot more normalized. And so, first and foremost, as I said, this year of healing is so imperative and so paramount and so timely to help with this pandemic. So a lot of energy is coming from the heavens, from the divine realms, to help alleviate the burden, to help alleviate the suffering, to make it move more gracefully, more swiftly, more powerfully, and accelerate that transformation and coming through the other side of this wormhole of this very tragic pandemic. But also now to go into a more, I'll still stay, since I started with the collective, then I'll move toward the personal. Then we also have, we have a transition again. There could be people here watching from countries all over the world, but as you know, we just had a massive changing of the guard here in the United States with the presidency, and not only political party, but just the personality and the nature of the outgoing and incoming president. It's such a colossal change in every conceivable way, and there's a lot of healing that has to take place from one way of being into another. Policies that will change and ones that will be eliminated and new ones that will begin. It's a huge, huge transition. Not only when it switches political parties, in this case from Republican to Democrat, but also the individuals themselves could not be more antipodes than they are. That, for those who don't know the word, that's like polar opposites, North Pole and South Pole. And so that that's going to entail an enormous amount of healing, which always happens with transitions between administrations, and this one perhaps more so than any one I know that I've seen in my lifetime of almost 6 decades on this planet. So again, calling forth tremendous healing that we hold in our hearts, we hold in our prayers for smoothness, for grace, for ease in transition. And then I would like to move into the personal level, and I can share just with my own ministry that's 2+ decades now. I've had people who've been studying and training with me, as their spiritual mentor and as their guru. People who've trained with me for close to, and some upwards of 2 decades. And there are many individuals who barely scratched the surface of what they could be doing in terms of their personal growth and transformation, because the levels of their fear so strong, or their willfulness or their resistance. And again, I'm talking about some of my students, but again, that's a microcosm of the collective. The planet is going through the kind of suffering and duress that it is solely because of that willful defiance in the nature of the human ego personality. Don't tell me what to do, which is the mission statement of the human ego. Whereas the mission statement of the soul is, how may I serve you, Lord? It's one of surrender, one of obedience, one of subservience. And so this bone of willfulness and defiance is what causes all the suffering in people's lives. And so by bringing forth this clarion call, this dispensation of healing to the world, it's an invitation from the divine and from my heart of hearts to ask anyone who's watching and anyone who might be watching in the future or might hear from any of you to just put the weapons down, give up the fight. And, as they said in The Wizard of Oz in the sky, surrender, Dorothy. Just to invoke within your own heart, within your own mind, within your own consciousness, a consciousness of surrender. Give up the fight, surrender, and acknowledge the need to heal what's broken inside, to heal the childhood wounds, to transform the patterns that no longer serve you, whether it's selfishness or greed or competition or envy or enmity or vengeance or retaliation or jealousy, whatever it is. These are the toxins, the poisons that hurt one's own life more than the ones you're inflicting it upon, infinitely more. And it's a year to let go of that, to really get honest and look in the mirror and say, anything that is not of love within me is poison, and it's a time to heal that. Now remember, I've shared this principle before, that on earth we have a fulcrum. I'll use this pen as an example. And so we have on one side of the fulcrum, here, that's the fulcrum here, like a seesaw, we have human will, free use of, free will, what people understand free will. It's a bit of an illusion, but let's call it what it is. And then here you have, Mother Earth, the physical manifestation of God's will in action. And so the more humanity does in terms of alignment with God's will, surrender, obedience, the less Mother Earth has to do on our behalf. The less humanity does, in other words, the more defiant, the more willful, the more selfish, the more Mother Earth has to do in terms of global changes, tornadoes, floods, droughts, famine, pestilence, tornadoes, earthquakes, cataclysms, volcanoes. And why it looks like it does, do the math. It's because there's so much in the collective critical mass. And when I say collective critical, I mean the individual. So many people have been choosing and insisting on these non-loving ways of being. Selfishness, desire, greed, competition, avarice. And it needs to go the other way. So in this year of healing, seek out those non-loving, those non-Christed, ungodly ways of being within yourself. And I mean that with all due respect. Just be honest about it. You don't have to judge yourself or be harsh on yourself. Just be objective and honest. Find those things and change them into loving, transform them into loving things. That's what I mean by healing. Healing, I mean growth and transformation. And then you'll watch, you will mitigate, you will reduce what's happening in the world. This is just a universal principle. And humans have so much more power. And when I say humans, I mean every individual, the power of one. Everyone has the power to tip the scales. Don't wait. Don't wait for Godot. Don't wait for the coming. Don't wait for a certain mystical year like 2012 or this, and that. Don't wait for the fifth dimension. Don't wait for someone else to do it. Don't wait for anyone. Just make the change in your own life. The power of one cannot be overestimated. So to help everyone in this year, I'm going to create a talisman in the crystal realm, which I often do each year. And this year, the crystal stone that holds this energy and that helps this energy is that of fluorite. So this is a beautiful fluorite crystal here. So fluorite is one of the most powerful healing stones. So you can have this on your body, wear a pendant, have a little one in your wallet or in your purse, in your pocket. Have it by your nightstand, maybe one under your mattress, in the car. You don't have to go out and spend a fortune. You can get a little one for $1. It holds that energy. So fluorite is a beautiful healing stone in that regard. Also, the Ascended Masters who will be heralding and holding that energy and that vision for everyone, for humanity's healing. Though some of you might have heard of the Chohan of the Fifth Ray, Lord Hilarion. He's the master of the healing ray, and Archangel Raphael. And that's the emerald green ray. With emerald green is the heart chakra. So, I mean, emerald is another beautiful stone this year that will help. The primary one is fluorite, which is also has a lot of green in it. But you can call out to Lord Hilarion. You can call out to Archangel Raphael and his legions of angels and invoke them. And really, really make a commitment to yourself like never before. And I'm not saying that people haven't been healing. Life is not all about healing. But wherever you're at, wherever you've been at, make a concerted effort and a commitment to take healing to the next level. And for those of you who have been resistant, for those of you who have refused, for those of you who just have certain issues that you don't want to change, you don't want to address, that you've made excuses for, you don't have to necessarily confess to other people. You don't necessarily have to, get up on the grandstand, but at least start by looking in the mirror and getting honest with yourself and saying, okay, I need to change this. If you have a relationship that's not working, either fix it or let it go. If you have something in yourself that is just not working for you and you know it's not, then do something about it. Make a commitment. I'm telling you, folks, you will see a windfall that's so beautiful, that's so magical, and you'll create a lot of ease in your life, a lot of beauty. And you'll see the real gift of this is what comes back to you, the fulfillment, when you start to see other people's suffering lessening because of the commitment you've made, because of your devotion to yourself to heal the things you've avoided, and how, an indicator, a barometer for anyone. A lot of people think, well, I'm all healed or this and that. How you can tell how much avoidance or denial is there is by how much sense gratification is in your life. If you're someone who spends an enormous time shopping, an enormous time, traveling, moving house, changing jobs, changing partners, that's avoidance. Those are escapist avoidance techniques. Because people don't want to feel. They don't want to look in the mirror. So you keep occupying yourself. People who are completely obsessed with sex, with drugs, with traveling, with shopping, with gambling. That's avoiding the pain of facing yourself. It doesn't mean don't do anything, but look at the indicators that show where you might be avoiding something. Now we're about to go into our countdown for the new year. So I'm giving you this gift, the year of healing for 2021. Make the most of it. Watch this planet transform. Let's hold a vision and a prayer that we move gracefully and swiftly through this pandemic. Reach out and help other people. Be a good brother or sister to others. I'm getting my toast here, my sparkling apple juice here. So I'm coming. Where's my countdown here? Is this it?
Yeah, that's it.
We're on it? 7 seconds?
That's the last minute.
Oh, 1 minute plus 4.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah. All righty. Got a minute left to the new year here in the parts of the world that is not in 2000. All right, so I'm going to join the countdown. You feel free to join me. I won't start this high up, but when we get down to maybe 20 seconds, we're at 45 now. We get to 20 seconds, I'll have the countdown, and I'll be the first to wish you a Happy New Year. Thank you, beloveds, for joining me. Any of you who are joining us for the first time, thank you so much. You can see more on louix.org, and I look forward to seeing more of you this year. 26, 5, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Salute per cent'anni, as we say in Italian. Happy New Year, beloveds. I love you. Thank you for joining me. And I wish you the very, very best. May this be... Wow, I hear... Is that a train?
I think it's all the celebrating outside.
Oh, it's horns and...
Yeah.
I hear horns and fireworks outside. That's so cool. May it be a tremendous year of healing on a personal level, on a global level. let's hold a vision for the new administration. You know, as people know, the United States has such an influence around the world, and let's hold a prayer for a graceful transition, and just health and happiness and beauty and help to everybody. Let's be a caregiver, a caretaker of our brothers and sisters worldwide, and sow seeds of goodness and kindness and healing within and without. Namaste. God bless you. I love you, and I hope to be seeing more of you. Namaste.